The village that lives beside 1,000 monkeys. Chapter 1. I thought the monkeys were only a tourist show. Before I came to Thailand, I believed the monkeys were only part of the performance. I had seen photographs online, monkeys sitting on temple walls, monkeys stealing sunglasses, monkeys holding bottles of orange soda, monkeys climbing over old stone ruins while tourists laughed and lifted their cameras. To me, it looked like entertainment, a strange little attraction in a faraway country. I imagined people came, took pictures, fed bananas, and left. I never imagined there were Thai families who lived beside them every morning. I never imagined children walked to school past hundreds of watchful eyes. I never imagined shopkeepers swept their doorways while monkeys sat above them like tiny kings. And I never imagined that one quiet evening in Lopburi would change the way I understood the word coexist. My name is Daniel Moore. I am a travel writer from England. I arrived in Thailand at the end of the rainy season, when the air still carried the softness of water and the evening smelled faintly of wet stone, jasmine, and smoke from roadside grills. The train from Bangkok moved north slowly. Outside the window, the city loosened. Concrete became rice fields. Billboards became palm trees. Traffic horns became the distant call of birds. I sat beside the window with my notebook open, but for a long time I wrote nothing. The land outside seemed to ask for silence. Green fields shimmered under a pale sky. Small houses stood on stilts. Old temples appeared and disappeared behind banana leaves. At some stations, vendors stepped onto the train carrying baskets of snacks. The smell of grilled chicken drifted through the carriage. Someone opened a plastic bag of sticky rice. A child slept against his grandmother's arm. Everything moved slowly enough to feel like a dream. When the train finally reached Lopburi, the sun was already lowering. The station was quiet, washed in golden light. A warm wind moved through the platform. Somewhere nearby, I heard bells from a temple. And then I saw the first monkey. It was sitting on the roof of a small shop across the street. Not in a cage, not behind glass, not part of a show. Just sitting there, as naturally as a cat on a wall. It looked at me calmly, then it scratched its shoulder, yawned, and turned away. As if foreigners with backpacks were the least interesting creatures in town. I smiled. At that moment, I still thought the monkey was charming. A little symbol of adventure. A postcard come alive. I had no idea how little I understood. My guest house was on a narrow street near the old part of town. The owner, a Thai woman named Molly, met me at the entrance with a gentle smile and a glass of cold water. "You came to see the monkeys?" she asked. I laughed softly. "Yes, I heard there are many." She nodded. "Many," she said. "Very many." The way she said it made me pause. Not frightened, not annoyed, just knowing. As if the word many carried more history than I could yet hear. My room was on the second floor. It had a wooden desk, a thin white curtain, and a small balcony facing the street. When I opened the balcony door, warm evening air entered the room. Below, a woman was selling noodle soup from a cart. The broth steamed into the fading light. Motorbikes passed slowly. A dog slept beside a blue plastic chair. And above the electric wires, 5 monkeys moved across the rooftops with the confidence of old residents returning home. One leaped from a signboard to a balcony railing. Another carried something silver in its hands. A younger one chased its own tail along a wall. They were not visitors. That was my first true realization. They belonged to the town in a way I did not. That evening, I walked toward the old temple ruins. The streets were soft with dusk. Streetlights flickered on one by one. The smell of fried garlic, grilled pork, and rain-soaked pavement followed me. Vendors were packing away their baskets. A monk in saffron robes walked quietly along the roadside. And everywhere there were monkeys. On walls, on roofs, on parked cars, near shrines, beside shops, under temple arches. They watched people watched them, but nobody seemed surprised. A fruit seller gently moved a basket closer to her stall. A boy carried his school bag in front of him instead of behind him. An old man lifted his plastic bag of dinner above his head while crossing the street. Everyone had adjusted. Everyone had learned small movements, small rules, small ways of sharing space. I stopped near an old stone wall where the last sunlight rested on the ruins. A young monkey sat there holding a piece of mango. Its face was small and serious. Behind it, the ancient temple stones glowed orange, worn by centuries of rain, heat, worship, and wind. For a moment, the scene felt almost unreal. A monkey eating mango in front of history. A town breathing quietly around both. Then someone beside me said, "Careful with your glasses." I turned. A Thai man in his 60s stood nearby, wearing a pale blue shirt and holding a cloth bag. His face was kind, lined by sun and laughter. I touched my glasses instinctively. "Do they really take them?" I asked. He smiled. "Sometimes. They like shiny things." "Do you live here?" "Yes," he said. "All my life." He looked at the monkeys, then at the temple. "My name is Somchai. I'm Daniel." He nodded. "You think they are funny?" I hesitated. "A little," I admitted. "Maybe because I don't live with them." Somchai chuckled softly. "That is honest." We stood together in the warm evening light. A monkey climbed down from the wall and ran across the road. A motorbike slowed without anger. The rider waited. The monkey passed. Life continued. Somchai looked at me and said, "For tourists, monkeys are a picture. For us, they are neighbors." That sentence stayed with me. Neighbors. Not pets, not performers, not decorations. Neighbors. Difficult sometimes, clever often, hungry, curious, annoying, funny, sacred to some, troubling to others, but present, always present. I asked him, "Is it hard to live with so many?" He took a long breath. "Some days, yes. They steal food, they break things, they fight, they make noise." Then he smiled again. "But we learn. They learn too. Not perfectly, but enough." We began walking slowly along the street. The town was settling into night. At a food stall, oil hissed in a pan. A woman turned skewers over charcoal. The smoke rose into the purple sky. Across the road, monkeys gathered on the roof of a closed shop, their tails hanging over the edge like dark ropes. Somchai pointed toward the old temple. "Long ago, people here believed monkeys were connected to Hanuman," he said. "The monkey warrior. Strong, loyal, clever." I had heard the name before, but only faintly. In that moment, it was not a lesson from a guidebook. It was a living memory spoken in the street. Somchai continued. "Some people feed them because of belief, some because of kindness, some because tourists expect it. But living together is not simple." His voice was calm, not romantic, not bitter, just truthful. That was the second thing Thailand taught me that evening. Culture is rarely simple when you stand inside it. From far away, I had reduced the monkeys to an attraction, a funny story, a travel photo. But here, under the soft lights of Lopburi, they were part of daily life. They were in the soundscape, in the architecture, in the habits of people, in the way shopkeepers tied their bags, in the way children held snacks close, in the way old men looked up before opening a door. We stopped at a small tea stall. Somchai ordered 2 cups of hot tea without asking if I wanted one. The vendor placed them on a metal table. The tea was sweet, strong, and warm. Above us, a monkey sat on an awning and watched carefully. Somchai lifted his cup and said, "Do not leave sugar on the table." I moved the sugar jar closer to the vendor. He laughed. "You learn fast." The night deepened. The sky turned dark blue. A train horn sounded far away. The old stones of the temple became shadows. The monkeys grew quieter, gathering in groups along the rooftops and walls. Some curled into themselves. Some groomed one another. Some stared into the streetlights with golden eyes. I had expected chaos. Instead, I found rhythm, not peace exactly. Not in the perfect way foreigners imagine peace, but rhythm, human rhythm, animal rhythm, temple rhythm, market rhythm, a town negotiating every day with the lives around it. When I returned to the guest house, Molly was sitting near the front desk, folding towels. "Did you meet the monkeys?" she asked. "I think," I said slowly. "I met the town." She smiled as if that was the better answer. Before sleeping, I stepped onto the balcony again. The street below was quiet. A few motorbikes passed. The noodle cart had closed. someone swept the pavement with slow, steady strokes. From the roof opposite my room, one monkey looked down at me. I looked back. Neither of us moved. The air smelled of rain and warm stone. Somewhere, a temple bell rang once. Then silence returned. I opened my notebook and wrote. I thought the monkeys were here for tourists, but perhaps the tourists are the ones passing through. The monkeys remain. The town remains. The people remain. And between them, life continues in 1,000 small agreements. That night, I fell asleep to the sound of soft footsteps on the roof. Not frightening, not funny, just part of Lopburi's lullaby. A village, a town, a temple, and 1,000 monkeys breathing beneath the same moon. Chapter 2. The morning rules no guidebook taught me. At dawn, Lopburi did not wake all at once. It opened slowly. First came the pale blue light behind the rooftops, then the soft clatter of metal shutters, then the smell of rice soup rising from small kitchens. A rooster called somewhere behind the guest house. A motorbike coughed to life, and above my ceiling, tiny feet began to move. At first, I thought it was rain, a gentle tapping, then a heavier thump, then another. I lay still in bed, listening. The monkeys were awake. When I opened the balcony door, the morning air was cool and damp. Mist rested lightly over the street. Across from me, a family of monkeys sat along the roofline, like quiet old men waiting for tea. One mother held her baby close to her chest. A young one pulled at a loose wire. Another stared down at a woman setting up her food cart below. The woman did not look afraid. She only moved carefully. She placed lids on her pots, tied plastic bags higher, pushed a basket beneath the table. Every action had meaning. Every movement came from experience. I went downstairs just as Molly was opening the front gate. She handed me a small cup of coffee. Today, she said, you learn morning rules. I smiled. There are rules? There are always rules, she said, even if nobody writes them down. We walked together toward the market. The street was already alive. Vendors arranged vegetables in neat green piles. Steam rose from soup pots. The smell of garlic, ginger, grilled pork, and fresh banana leaves floated through the air. But above everything, the monkeys moved. They crossed signs, balanced on cables, sat on temple walls, watched hands, watched bags, watched breakfast. Molly pointed gently. Rule 1, never carry food where they can see it. A young tourist ahead of us carried a paper bag from a bakery. He smiled at a monkey on the wall. The monkey smiled back in its own sharp little way. Then 3 more appeared. The tourist stopped smiling. Molly sighed softly. Too late. The monkeys did not hurt him. They simply rushed. One grabbed the bag. Another pulled at the corner. The tourist let go. The monkeys scattered across the wall with their prize. The whole market barely reacted. A woman selling flowers laughed under her breath. The tourist stood stunned. Molly leaned toward me. Rule 2. If they take it, let it go. That's it? That's it, she said. Breakfast is cheaper than stitches. Her voice was calm, almost sleepy, but the wisdom was practical. I wrote the sentence in my mind. Breakfast is cheaper than stitches. We stopped at a stall selling warm soy milk and fried dough. Molly bought 2 cups. Before handing mine to me, she covered the top carefully. Rule 3, she said, hold everything close. Around us, local people moved through the morning with quiet skill. A schoolboy tucked his snack inside his shirt. A grandmother carried fruit in a covered basket. A monk walked past with his alms bowl held firmly in both hands. A shopkeeper hung shiny packets of crisps behind a wire screen. Nothing felt dramatic. No one shouted. No one ran. This was not panic. It was practice. The monkeys were part of the morning, the way heat was part of the afternoon and rain was part of the season. I began to understand that coexistence was not a beautiful word painted on a sign. It was work. Small work. Daily work. Work done without applause. We sat near a temple wall where the light fell softly over old bricks. Molly sipped her soy milk. I watched a young monkey trying to open a plastic bottle. It turned the bottle over and over, studying it with serious concentration. They are clever, I said. Very clever, Molly replied. Sometimes too clever. Do people ever get angry? She looked at the street for a while before answering. Yes, of course. People are people. Monkeys are monkeys. Some days are difficult. Then she added softly, but anger does not solve living together. That sentence felt simple. But in Lopburi, simple things often carry deep roots. A fruit seller nearby called out to Molly. They spoke in Thai for a moment. Then Molly turned to me. She says you should not smile too much at the big male monkey. I blinked. Why? Showing teeth can mean challenge. I closed my mouth immediately. Molly laughed. Good, you are becoming local already. The big male sat near the temple gate. He was heavier than the others, with silver fur around his face and slow, serious eyes. He did not move much. He did not need to. The others made space for him. Tourists lifted phones carefully from a distance. Locals walked past without staring. Respect here was not only for monks, elders, or spirits. Sometimes it was also for a monkey who knew he owned the corner. As the morning warmed, the market became busier. Children passed in uniforms. Their white shirts glowed in the soft sunlight. Some walked in groups. Some carried umbrellas, though there was no rain. One little girl, perhaps 8 years old, held a packet of sticky rice tight against her chest. A monkey appeared on the wall beside her. She stopped. The monkey stopped. For a moment, they looked at each other. Then an older boy gently stepped between them and lifted his school bag like a shield. The monkey lost interest and climbed away. The girl continued walking. No tears, no shouting. Just another morning rule learned early. I asked Molly, do children grow up afraid of them? She thought for a moment. Not afraid, she said. Aware. That word changed something in me. Aware. In my own country, I had often thought safety meant separation. Fences, locks, signs, warnings. Here, safety also meant attention. Knowing the mood of the street. Knowing which monkey was bold. Knowing where not to stand with food. Knowing when to laugh and when to step away. Awareness was not fear. It was relationship. Later, Molly introduced me to her cousin, a shopkeeper named Nok. Nok owned a small convenience store near the old temple. The front of her shop had wire mesh over some shelves, clips on snack bags, and a broom leaning beside the door. Inside, the air smelled of soap, instant noodles, incense, and cold drinks. A small fan turned slowly above the counter. Nok smiled when she saw me looking at the mesh. For monkeys, she said in English, they come inside? Sometimes, she said. Before, many times. Now, less. How do you stop them? She held up the broom. Not hit, just show. Then, she demonstrated by lifting the broom gently like a gate. Like this. I tell them, no shopping today. Molly laughed. Nok laughed too. The image of a monkey being refused service in a convenience store stayed with me all morning. But beneath the humor was something tender. Nok had not spoken with hatred. She spoke the way someone might speak of a difficult neighbor. Annoying, yes, but familiar, known, part of the street's personality. A small monkey appeared at the entrance while we talked. It placed one hand on the floor, then another, and peered inside. Nok turned her head. No, she said calmly. The monkey froze. Nok lifted the broom slightly. No shopping. The monkey blinked, considered the situation, then ran away. Nok turned back to me. You see? Business meeting finished. I laughed quietly. Molly smiled. Outside, the sun had risen higher. The old temple stones warmed. The monkeys became more active. Tourists arrived in vans, holding cameras and hats. Some were excited. Some nervous. Some treated the street like a stage. But the people who lived there moved differently. They did not come to watch the monkeys. They came to open shops, buy breakfast, take children to school, sweep dust, light incense, and begin another day. That was the third discovery waiting for me. Tourism freezes a place into a moment. Daily life lets it breathe. By late morning, I walked alone toward a quieter lane behind the temple. There were fewer tourists there. Laundry hung from balconies. A woman watered plants in old paint buckets. A cat slept on a motorbike seat while two monkeys sat above it, neither side interested in the other. The lane smelled of wet leaves and curry paste. Somewhere, someone was chopping vegetables. A radio played an old Thai song softly from inside a house. I saw Somchai sitting beneath a tree, repairing a small wooden stool. He looked up and smiled. "Ah, Daniel, you survived morning school. I learned some rules." "Good. Lopburi teaches quickly." I sat beside him. A monkey watched us from the tree. Somchai continued sanding the stool with slow, patient movements. I asked, "Have the monkeys always been this many?" He shook his head. "Not like now. The town changed, people changed, tourists came, food became easy, buildings gave them places to stay." He touched the wood gently. "When life gives easy food, animals learn. And people?" He smiled. "People also learn easy habits." The answer was quiet, but it stayed with me. He was not blaming the monkeys. He was not blaming the tourists. He was pointing to a web of causes: food, belief, buildings, visitors, kindness, carelessness, tradition, modern life. Everything connected. Nothing stood alone. A small monkey climbed down and reached toward Somchai's cloth bag. Without looking, Somchai moved the bag to his other side. The monkey paused, offended, then climbed back up. "You didn't even look," I said. Somchai smiled. 30 years of practice. The breeze moved through the leaves. For a while, neither of us spoke. The sound of the town drifted around us. Engines, birds, distant temple bells, monkey calls, a vendor calling out lunch. Somchai finally said, "Foreigners often ask why we do not simply remove them." I looked at him. "And what do you say?" He placed the stool down carefully. "I ask them, remove them to where? They are not furniture. They are life." The sentence settled between us. They are not furniture. They are life. I thought of how often travelers want places to be simple, clean stories, easy answers, good or bad, beautiful or ugly, problem or attraction. But Lopburi refused to become simple. Its monkeys were trouble and treasure, sacred symbol and daily challenge, tourist wonder and local responsibility. They made people laugh. They made people tired. They belonged, and yet belonging was complicated. In the afternoon, rain came. Not heavily, just a soft curtain falling over the town. The old stones darkened. The rooftops shone. Vendors pulled plastic covers over their carts. The monkeys gathered under awnings and temple ledges, shaking water from their fur. I stood beneath the guest house roof, watching the rain silver the street. Molly came beside me with 2 cups of tea. "Now they are quiet," she said. The monkeys sat close together in the rain. Some groomed each other. A mother wrapped her arms around her baby. A young one rested his head against an older monkey's side. Without the stealing, jumping, and noise, they suddenly looked vulnerable. Small, wet, alive. I felt a softness rise in me. Not the childish charm I had felt when I first saw one on the roof. Something slower, more respectful. I had begun the day learning how to protect my breakfast. I ended it watching a mother monkey shelter her child from rain. That evening, I wrote in my notebook, "Coexistence is not a fairy tale. It is not always beautiful. It is doors closed carefully, food hidden wisely, patience practiced daily. It is laughter after inconvenience. It is knowing when to step back. It is understanding that another life may be difficult to live beside and still be worthy of space." Outside, the rain continued. Soft on rooftops, soft on temple stones, soft on the sleeping market. Above my room, the monkeys had grown quiet again, and for the first time, their footsteps did not feel strange. They felt like part of the house, part of the town, part of the story I had only just begun to hear. Chapter 3: The Festival of the Monkeys. On my 3rd day in Lopburi, I woke to a sound I had not heard before. Music. Not the soft music from a radio. Not temple bells. Not the chatter of the market. This was louder, brighter. A rhythm moving through the morning air. I stepped onto the balcony. Below, people were already gathering along the streets. Tables appeared where there had been none the day before. Volunteers carried baskets. Children pointed excitedly toward the old temple. Something unusual was happening. When I went downstairs, Molly was waiting near the front desk. She seemed amused by my confusion. "You chose a good week to visit," she said. "What is happening?" She smiled. "Today, the monkeys have a festival." I blinked. "The monkeys have a festival?" "Yes," I laughed softly. Surely I had misunderstood. Back home, festivals were usually for people, for saints, for history, for harvests, for national celebrations, not for monkeys. Yet by mid-morning, I found myself standing beside hundreds of people gathered near the ancient temple ruins. And indeed, the festival seemed to be for the monkeys. Long tables stretched across the square. Colorful arrangements of fruit covered every surface. Watermelons, bananas, pineapples, papayas, dragon fruit, corn, coconuts, even vegetables carved into decorative shapes. The displays looked like artwork, carefully prepared, beautiful enough for a royal banquet. I stared in amazement. All of this for monkeys. The smell of ripe fruit filled the warm air. Children laughed. Tourists lifted cameras. Monks walked quietly through the crowd. And above everything, hundreds of monkeys watched from rooftops and temple walls, waiting patiently, or at least as patiently as monkeys could manage. Beside me, Somchai appeared carrying a small bag of fruit. "You look surprised," he said. "I am," he chuckled. "Most foreigners are." I watched workers arranging one final table beneath an ancient arch. "Why do people do this?" Somchai looked toward the temple. "Many reasons." He paused. "Some people believe the monkeys bring luck." He pointed toward the ruins. "Some remember old stories about Hanuman." Then he looked at the crowd. "And some simply enjoy celebrating something unique about their town." The answer felt very Thai. Not one reason, several reasons, intertwined together. History, belief, tradition, community, no single explanation standing alone. As the morning continued, more people arrived. The sky above Lopburi was clear and blue. White clouds drifted slowly overhead. The ancient stones glowed beneath the sun. The fruit displays seemed almost too beautiful to touch. Then suddenly, everything changed. Someone gave a signal. The crowd stepped back. The waiting monkeys understood immediately. Like water breaking through a dam, they poured from rooftops, walls, and trees. Hundreds, then hundreds more, running, climbing, leaping, racing toward the fruit. Gasps rose from visitors. Laughter followed. Children cheered. Monkeys landed on tables, grabbed bananas, pulled apart watermelons, carried entire pineapples across the square. One monkey sat proudly atop a fruit sculpture, like a king claiming a throne. Another stuffed both cheeks so full of food that it looked incapable of closing its mouth. The scene should have felt chaotic, and perhaps it was, but there was something joyful about it too. Not controlled, not staged, not perfect, just life unfolding in its own strange way. I noticed something then. The local people were watching differently from the tourists. The tourists focused on the funny moments, the stolen fruit, the acrobatics, the surprises. The locals smiled too, but their smiles carried something deeper: familiarity, affection, memory. This was not a spectacle to them. It was part of the story of their town, part of their identity, part of what made Lopburi feel like home. I walked slowly around the square. The sounds surrounded me. Monkey calls, children laughing, fruit splitting open, camera shutters clicking, the distant ringing of temple bells. And beneath it all, the quiet presence of the ancient ruins. The temple had stood here for centuries, long before cameras, long before social media, long before tourists arrived from distant countries. The stones had witnessed kings, wars, rainy seasons, generations of families. And somehow, through all those years, monkeys remained part of the landscape. That thought fascinated me. The festival was not really about feeding monkeys. It was about continuity, a relationship that had lasted longer than many buildings, longer than businesses, longer than governments. At midday, the heat became stronger. Many people moved into the shade. I joined Somchai beneath a large tree near the edge of the square. Nearby, a young monkey sat eating a piece of watermelon larger than its own head. Juice covered its face. Neither of us could stop laughing. Eventually, Somchai shook his head. They are messy neighbors. Very messy. He smiled, but still neighbors. The phrase returned again. Neighbors, not attractions, not decorations. Neighbors. The word carried more meaning each day. We watched quietly for a while. Then I asked something I have been wondering since arriving. Do you think the monkeys know they are famous? Somchai laughed so hard he nearly dropped his water bottle. When he finally recovered, he pointed toward a large male monkey sitting proudly on a table. He definitely thinks he is famous. We sat beneath the tree for another hour. The breeze moved softly through the leaves. The crowd slowly thinned. The monkeys continued eating. Some rested in the shade. Others groomed one another. A few young monkeys chased each other through the ruins. Watching them, I noticed something I had missed before. The social bonds, the friendships, the families, the patience between mothers and babies, the protective behavior of older monkeys, the playful arguments, the reconciliation afterward. The more time I spent observing them, the less they seemed like a single group. They became individuals, each with habits, temperaments, relationships, stories. Perhaps that was another lesson. It is easy to reduce large groups into simple labels. Tourists, locals, monkeys, foreigners. But real life is never that simple. Every group contains countless individuals, countless personalities, countless experiences. Later that afternoon, I wandered through a quieter section of town. The festival sounds faded behind me. A narrow street led past old wooden houses. Flower pots lined the sidewalks. Laundry moved gently in the breeze. The air smelled of jasmine and freshly cooked rice. An elderly woman sat outside her house, weaving a basket. Several monkeys rested on the wall nearby. No one seemed concerned. The woman noticed me looking. "You are visiting?" she asked in English. "Yes," she smiled. "You came for monkeys?" At first, she laughed softly. "Many people come for monkeys." Then she continued weaving. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The afternoon felt peaceful. The sound of leaves rustling overhead, the distant hum of a motorbike, the occasional call of a bird. Finally, the woman said something unexpected. "The monkeys bring visitors." She nodded toward the street. "The visitors help businesses." Then she looked toward the resting monkeys. "But the monkeys also bring problems." I nodded. "Both things can be true." She smiled. "Exactly." Again, Thailand offered another lesson. Not every question requires choosing one side. Sometimes truth lives in the middle. The monkeys were neither entirely good nor entirely bad. They were simply part of reality, a reality the town had learned to navigate. As evening approached, the heat softened. Golden sunlight washed across the temple ruins. The festival tables were mostly empty now. The fruit had disappeared. Only scattered peels remained. The monkeys looked satisfied. Some slept on rooftops. Others groomed each other beneath trees. The excitement of the day slowly faded into calm. I climbed a small hill overlooking part of the town. From there, I could see the ancient temple, the market, the rooftops, the trees, and everywhere, monkeys. Not dominating the town, not separate from it, part of it, integrated into the landscape. The same way rivers belong to valleys. The same way birds belong to forests. The same way temples belong to Lopburi. The sun lowered toward the horizon. Orange light filled the sky. The town glowed warmly beneath it. For a long time, I simply sat and watched. No notebook, no photographs, no questions, just observation. Sometimes understanding begins when curiosity becomes quiet. That evening, back at the guest house, I sat on the balcony again. The air was cooler now. The festival sounds had disappeared. Only ordinary evening noises remained. A scooter passing, someone washing dishes, a dog barking in the distance. Above me, monkeys settled into their sleeping places, one by one, roof by roof, tree by tree. The town exhaled. I opened my notebook and wrote, "Before coming here, I thought the monkeys were the story. Now I realize they are only one chapter. The real story is the people who adapted, the people who remained patient, The people who built lives beside something unpredictable. The people who discovered how coexistence works. Not perfectly, but peacefully enough. And perhaps that is more impressive than any festival. I closed a notebook. The moon rose above the rooftops. Silver light touched the ancient stones. Somewhere nearby, a baby monkey cried briefly before becoming quiet again. Then the night settled gently over Lopburi. And beneath the same moon, humans and monkeys prepared for another shared morning. Chapter 4. The day the monkeys disappeared. A few days after the festival, something unusual happened. At first, nobody seemed concerned. In fact, most visitors probably did not notice. But the people of Lopburi noticed immediately. Because when you live beside thousands of monkeys, you learn their rhythms. You learn where they sit in the morning, which rooftops they prefer, which walls they climb, which trees they sleep in. And on that particular morning, many of those familiar places were empty. I noticed it while walking to the market. The large male monkey who usually guarded the temple gate was gone. The young troublemakers who often waited near the bakery were nowhere to be seen. Several walls that normally held clusters of monkeys stood strangely quiet. The town felt different, not silent, but incomplete, like hearing a song with several notes missing. When I reached the noodle stall where I often ate breakfast, I found Molly speaking with several local residents. Everyone seemed relaxed, but everyone was talking about the same thing. The monkeys moved, maybe near the railway. I saw many by the old water tower. They left before sunrise. Curious, I asked Molly what was happening. She handed me a bowl of noodles. No one knows yet. Is it normal? She shrugged. Sometimes. Then she smiled. But usually they know something before we do. I looked around. The absence suddenly felt more noticeable. For the first time since arriving, I could see the streets without monkeys perched on every surface. The rooftops looked larger. The walls looked emptier. The town felt almost unfamiliar. It was strange. Only a week earlier, I had thought there were too many monkeys. Now I found myself missing them. After breakfast, I met Somchai near the temple ruins. He seemed amused by my concern. You look worried. I think I am. He laughed softly. You have been here too long. Maybe. He looked toward the empty temple wall. Or maybe not long enough. Together, we walked through several streets, searching for signs of the missing monkeys. We found only a few scattered groups, far fewer than usual. The town seemed to be holding its breath, not because anyone feared disaster, but because everyone sensed a change. As we walked, Somchai told me stories from his childhood, stories I had never heard before. When I was a boy, he said, there were fewer buildings. We passed an old wooden house covered with flowering vines. More trees. He pointed toward a shopping area. Less concrete. Then he smiled. The monkeys had more places to go. I listened quietly. The town around us felt like a living history lesson. Not the kind found in books. The kind carried in memories. Every street contained layers of time. The monkeys were part of those layers. Just as much as the temples. Just as much as the people. By midday, the mystery was solved. A fruit vendor arrived at the market laughing. I found them. Within minutes, half the street seemed to know. The monkeys had gathered near a large orchard on the edge of town. Apparently, several fruit trees had ripened at the same time. Thousands of monkeys had simply followed an easier meal. No emergency, no crisis. Just monkeys making monkey decisions. By late afternoon, I joined Somchai on a small motorbike ride toward the orchard. The road wound through quieter neighborhoods, then past open fields. The air smelled of grass and earth warmed by the sun. Birds moved through the trees. The farther we traveled, the calmer everything became. And then we found them. Hundreds, perhaps thousands. Monkeys filled the orchard. Some climbed branches heavy with fruit. Others sat beneath the trees eating peacefully. Young monkeys chased one another through the grass. Mothers carried babies. Older monkeys rested in patches of shade. For once, there were no tourists, no cameras, no crowds. Only monkeys behaving naturally. The scene felt completely different from the temple, different from the market, different from the festival. For the first time, I saw them without the human performance surrounding them, without snacks, without entertainment, without expectations, just animals living their lives. Somchai sat beneath a tree. For a while, we simply watched. A warm breeze moved through the orchard. Leaves rustled overhead. Somewhere nearby, a farmer worked quietly. The afternoon sunlight filtered through the branches, creating shifting patterns on the ground. It felt peaceful, more peaceful than I expected. Eventually, I turned toward Somchai. They seem different here. They are. Why? He smiled. Because here they are not performing for people. The answer struck me immediately. Back at the temple, I had often watched the monkeys through the lens of tourism, through stories, through expectations, but here, sitting beneath fruit trees, they became something simpler and somehow more beautiful. They were simply another part of nature, no more remarkable than birds building nests, no more unusual than fish swimming through rivers. The wonder came not from what they were doing, the wonder came from being close enough to witness it. As the afternoon drifted toward evening, Somchai told me another story. Years ago, before international tourism became common, local children often knew individual monkeys by sight, not official names, just nicknames. The one with the white ear, the lazy one, the brave one, the thief, the sleepy grandfather. The stories made me smile. It sounded less like wildlife management and more like neighborhood gossip. Perhaps that was exactly the point. The relationship between people and monkeys in Lopburi was not built entirely on science, nor entirely on tradition. It was built on familiarity, generations growing up together, watching each other, learning each other's habits, sharing the same environment. Neither side fully controlling the other, neither side fully understanding the other, yet somehow finding balance. As sunset approached, golden light filled the orchard. The monkeys became calmer. Families gathered together. The younger ones slowed their games. The air cooled gently. The world seemed to soften. I noticed a small monkey sitting alone on a low branch. It watched the sunset quietly. Its face looked thoughtful. Or perhaps I was imagining human emotions where none existed. Still, the image stayed with me, because at that moment, the monkey did not seem exotic. It did not seem funny. It did not seem like an attraction. It simply seemed alive, sharing the same evening sky, the same cooling breeze, the same approaching night. Back in town, darkness arrived slowly. Streetlights flickered on. Vendors prepared dinner. Temple bells echoed softly through the streets. And gradually, the monkeys returned. Groups appeared on rooftops. Others crossed power lines. Several settled near the temple walls. The town felt complete again. Almost immediately, life resumed its familiar rhythm. The bakery owner secured his display case. Children carried snacks carefully. Shopkeepers checked their doors. The unwritten rules returned. Watching this happen, I realized something important. The people of Lopburi had not adapted because the monkeys were special. They adapted because coexistence always requires adaptation. Whether with animals, neighbors, communities, families, no relationship survives without adjustment. No shared space remains peaceful without patience. The monkeys simply made that lesson impossible to ignore. That evening, Molly served tea on the guest house balcony. The sky above the town glowed deep blue. A few stars appeared overhead. The sounds of nighttime drifted upward from the street. I told her about the orchard. She nodded knowingly. They always come back. The monkeys, the lessons. I laughed. Then I stopped because I realized she was serious. The lessons always came back, again and again, in different forms. Patience, awareness, balance, respect, coexistence. Thailand seemed to teach them quietly, never through lectures, always through experience. When Molly went inside, I remained on the balcony. A warm breeze touched my face. Below, a family walked home carrying dinner. Across the street, several monkeys prepared for sleep. The rooftops glowed softly beneath moonlight. I opened my notebook and wrote, "When the monkeys disappeared, I thought the town would feel calmer. Instead, it felt incomplete. Perhaps that is the final stage of understanding. At first, we see differences. Then we tolerate them. Then we accept them. And eventually, We cannot imagine the place without them. I closed the notebook. Above the rooftops, the moon climbed higher. The monkeys grew quiet. The town settled into sleep. And somewhere beyond the lights of Lopburi, the orchard rested beneath the same silver sky. Tomorrow would be my last full day in the town, but already I knew I would leave with something far more valuable than photographs. I would leave with a different way of seeing, a different way of understanding what it means to share a place, and perhaps what it means to belong. Chapter 5: The Village That Changed My Understanding of Home. On my final morning in Lopburi, I woke before sunrise. The town was still sleeping. The sky beyond the rooftops carried only the faintest hint of silver. For a few moments, everything felt suspended between night and day. No market noise, no motorbikes, no voices, only the distant sound of birds preparing to greet the morning. And somewhere above my room, the soft movement of monkeys waking on the rooftops. I lay quietly and listened, just listened, because I knew I would not hear these sounds for much longer. The train back to Bangkok would leave that afternoon. My notebook was nearly full. My camera contained hundreds of photographs. Yet, neither felt important at that moment. The memories felt more valuable. The feeling of the town, the rhythm of daily life, the lessons hidden inside ordinary mornings. After dressing, I stepped onto the balcony one last time. The air felt cool, fresh. A thin mist drifted above the streets. Across the road, several monkeys sat together on a roof, watching the sunrise, or perhaps simply waiting for breakfast. Either way, they seemed perfectly at home. The sight made me smile, because when I first arrived, I had assumed the monkeys were the unusual part of Lopburi. Now I understood something different. The unusual part was not the monkeys. The unusual part was the relationship, the quiet agreement, the daily negotiation. The willingness of people and animals to share the same space year after year, not perfectly, not without challenges, but peacefully enough, and in a world that often seemed divided by differences, that felt remarkable. I packed my bag slowly, then carried it downstairs. Molly was already awake. She stood near the front desk arranging flowers beside a small shrine. The scent of jasmine filled the room. When she saw me, she smiled. Leaving today. It was not a question. No way to hide from you, is there? She laughed softly. No. For a few moments, we stood together in comfortable silence. Then she handed me a small package wrapped in brown paper. A gift. I looked surprised. You didn't have to. I know. I opened it carefully. Inside was a small, hand-carved wooden monkey. Simple, smooth, beautifully made. Not a souvenir from a tourist shop. Something more personal. Something made with care. I ran my thumb across the polished wood. Thank you. Molly nodded. So you remember. I smiled. I don't think forgetting is possible. She seemed pleased with that answer. After breakfast, I decided to take one final walk through town. The streets were beginning to wake. Food vendors arranged ingredients. Children prepared for school. Shopkeepers swept the sidewalks. The familiar rhythm unfolded around me. And everywhere, monkeys. Not as many as during the festival. Not as many as in the orchard. Just enough. Enough to remind everyone they were still here. Still part of the story. I passed Nock's convenience store. She stood outside arranging products near the entrance. When she saw me, she waved. You go home today? Yes. She smiled. Good. I laughed. Good? She pointed toward a monkey sitting on a nearby wall. One less tourist feeding them snacks. I laughed harder. The monkey looked offended. Nock grinned. Then she added quietly, come back someday. There was warmth in her voice. The kind of warmth that turns strangers into returning visitors. I will. And I meant it. Farther down the street, I found Somchai sitting beneath the same tree where we had shared so many conversations. He was drinking tea, watching the town, as though he had been waiting for me. Perhaps he had. I sat beside him. Neither of us spoke immediately. The morning felt too peaceful to rush. A breeze moved through the leaves overhead. Monkeys climbed along nearby branches. The temple bells sounded softly in the distance. Finally, Somchai broke the silence. So, You understand the monkeys now? I thought carefully before answering. Then I shook my head. No, he laughed. A deep, satisfied laugh. Good answer. I smiled. Maybe I understand a little. He nodded. That is enough. For several moments, we watched a young monkey trying unsuccessfully to steal fruit from a tree already picked clean. The monkey searched every branch, refused to give up, eventually accepted defeat, and climbed away. Stubborn, I said. Very. Like people. Exactly. The simplicity of the exchange made us both laugh. Then Somchai became thoughtful. You know, foreigners often ask questions about Thailand. I waited. They ask why people smile. He pointed toward the market. They ask why we share food. Toward the temple. They ask why people respect old traditions. Then toward the monkeys. They ask why we live beside animals that cause trouble. The breeze rustled the leaves. And what do you tell them? I asked. Somchai smiled. I tell them the same thing. What? He looked out across the town. Because life is easier when you learn how to live together. The sentence was simple, but it carried the weight of everything I had experienced in Lopburi. The market, the temple, the festival, the orchard, the unwritten rules, the patience, the kindness, the adaptation. Life is easier when you learn how to live together, not only with monkeys, with people, with neighbors, with families, with communities, with differences. The lesson reached far beyond the town, far beyond Thailand, far beyond the monkeys themselves. By late morning, it was time to leave. The station looked much the same as when I arrived. The same platform, the same tracks, the same warm sunlight, yet everything felt different. Because I was different. Molly came to say goodbye. So did Nok. Even Somchai arrived a few minutes before departure. We stood together beside the train, a small group brought together by chance, or perhaps by shared stories. As the train prepared to leave, I looked back toward the town, toward the rooftops, toward the temple, toward the streets where monkeys and people continued their daily dance. And suddenly, I realized what I had misunderstood from the very beginning. I had come looking for monkeys, but the monkeys were never the real story. The real story was the people who chose patience over frustration, the people who adapted instead of demanding control, the people who accepted complexity instead of searching for simple answers, the people who built a community capable of sharing space with something unpredictable. That was the remarkable part, not the monkeys, the humans. The train whistle sounded. The doors began to close. Molly waved. Nok waved. Somchai simply smiled. The train started moving, slowly at first, then faster. The platform drifted away. The town began to disappear behind trees and buildings. Yet one image remained clear in my mind. A monkey sitting quietly on an ancient temple wall, watching the world pass by, not performing, not entertaining, simply belonging. And perhaps that was the greatest lesson Lopburi had given me. Belonging does not mean ownership. Belonging does not mean control. Belonging means becoming part of a place while allowing others to be part of it too. The train continued south toward Bangkok. Rice fields passed outside the window. Clouds drifted across the sky. The countryside unfolded slowly beneath the afternoon sun. I opened my notebook for the final time. On the last page I wrote, "Before I came to Thailand, I thought this would be a story about monkeys. Instead, it became a story about coexistence, a story about patience, a story about adaptation, a story about community, and most of all, a story about a town that taught me a different meaning of home. Home is not always where everything is easy. Home is where differences learn to live side by side." I closed the notebook. Outside, the landscape continued rolling past. Inside the train, passengers rested quietly. Some slept. Some read. Some watched the world through the glass. I leaned back in my seat. The gentle movement of the train felt almost like a lullaby. And as the afternoon sunlight warmed the carriage, I found myself thinking of Lopburi one last time. The old temples, the fruit festival, the orchard, the market, the laughter, the morning rules. the rooftops filled with monkeys, the people who called them neighbors, a place I had arrived knowing nothing about, a place I left carrying with me. The sun drifted lower, the train moved onward, and somewhere far behind me, in a town of ancient stones and wandering monkeys, evening was beginning once again. The market was soon open. Children would return from school. Shopkeepers would close their doors, temple bells would ring softly through the fading light, and thousands of monkeys would settle onto rooftops beneath the rising moon. The same moon that now washed over the train. The same moon that watches over all travelers, near and far, known and unknown, human and animal alike. And beneath that peaceful silver light, the town of Lopburi would continue telling its quiet story. A story not about monkeys, but about learning how to share the world. The end. Thailand still holds countless stories waiting to be discovered. If you would like to continue this journey together, I hope to see you again in the next story from Thailand Through Eyes. And if there is somewhere in Thailand you wish to visit through story, leave your suggestion below. Perhaps our next journey will begin there.